Hello and welcome back to Cars and Coffee, the M1 Concourse Raceway, with the new monthly theme being the GM brand. And although they had a fantastic showing from Pontiac and Buick and Chevrolet and all those, they kind of got their show stolen, to be honest, because the other guys, the other manufacturers, stepped up big time. This is one of my favorite shows I've been to in a very long time. I mean, we are starting out with Japan. And the Nissan Z, yeah, the front logo is taped on with Scotch tape. Probably because of the body kit or something, I don't know. But it looks really good, and it's brand new, and it's got this incredible purple paint. And same with the incredible paint design, a very minty Mazda MX-5, the NA generation. Very minty indeed. And I gotta give props to Toyota, they also stepped it up with the incredibly ruggedly epic Toyota Land Cruiser FJ45 pickup. If you want to be a lot more comfortable, you get the Toyota Century, designed for dignitaries. This is the G40 era, so it's not the V12, so it's still impressive. The A90 Supra, obviously made in attendance, although I gotta say, the GR Corolla is significantly better. So much better, in fact, that my finger actually made a cameo, because I was looking at the Corolla, but whatever. Then we get into like the 90s JDM golden era with the Mark IV Supra, with the right-hand drive R32 GTR, with the right-hand drive Honda Integra Type R, not the Acura Integra Type R like we got here in the US. This is the actual right-hand drive Japanese version. Although the left-hand drive Integra did make an appearance in the Fast and Furious car, yes. Mr. Monaco, I don't remember his name, from the first Drag Race and the first Fast and Furious film. And it was not the only one in attendance from that first film. There was Vince's Maxima from the worst villain car ever, I think. And one of the best hero cars ever, the Mitsubishi Eclipse GSX from Brian O'Connor. I gotta say, the detail on these vehicles is incredible. I don't know how much money it took to make these cars look as good as they did, but they are absolutely stunningly good looking. Well done to all of those guys that built them. Now it's time to move on to the Germans. And there were some from BMW and Mercedes. We're going to start off really with Porsche, because they were great. Not only was there 944s, 914s, 356 Super 1600s, stuff like that, but there were some great 911s like the 930, although I don't think it was the turbo, it was just a normal one. Or many GT3s from the previous generation, or this 992 generation. There was even a Singer Porsche from 1991. Fantastic seeing the Singer back. But really, I wanted to focus on the RS models, because the new RS was there. Sadly, for whatever reason, we couldn't actually get close to it, but it's here. It's one of the first GT3 RSs of this generation to be delivered to the US, so hopefully that actually makes a proper appearance in the next show. But we were kind of satisfied with the Cayman GT4 RS making its debut at M1 Concourse. It's a brilliant car. I love how it drives, I love how it looks, and I've always liked the Cayman. Not as much as the 911, but having a 911 GT3 engine in the Cayman really helps elevate it as a car. Although my favorite German car was not either Porsche, it was actually this Mercedes, because this is a 500e pre-AMG merger. So this is an AMG 500e before they did their whole merge with Mercedes. So nice seeing an independent AMG once in a while. We're sticking with the British theme now. We had some cars, there wasn't really a whole lot. In all honesty, the Aston Martin, the McLarens. I did like me a good Austin Healey 3000 Mark III. Big, muscular little car, but it looks muscular because it's got the hood scoop. So well done there. And there was a Bowler Defender 90 Trophy Edition. That's a long name. But they only made 250 of them. Very rare. So well done for the British having such a rare and very cool vehicle in attendance. The Italians also had quality over quantity like the British. Only this was more flashy than the Austin Healeys and the McLarens, because this is Maserati, the Lamborghini Huracan Evo, or if you want to take it a step up in exclusivity and style, You go with the Testarossa, a vehicle so cool, it only needed one wing mirror. Yeah! And then we finish it off with the De Tomaso Pantera, really cool car with the iconic Delta wing on back in a strange color, but I kind of like it. And we move on to finish off with the Americans. Now, since this is a GM show, obviously there's going to be a lot of GM vehicles, like a Cadillac V8, Series 353, I think is what it is to be formal. And Buick also had a fantastic showing with the Grand National from 1982, which is kind of awful, but don't worry, they remedied it with the Buick Grand National Experimental. The real GNX was here in all of its Ferrari F40 beating glory, legendary cars. But this is also kind of more interesting, because I've never seen one of these before. It's a Pontiac Grand Prix Richard Petty edition. So it's the homologation version of their NASCAR, which I'm sure won't come into play at all over the course of this video, but it is noted for being signed by Richard Petty, which is pretty cool, not gonna lie. And I like the color. I like the color a lot, actually. The car itself isn't very good, it's pretty slow, but I like the history behind it nonetheless. And Pontiac also had a stellar performance, let's not count them out, because we had the GTO, we had the Firebird, we had the really special Firebird, a lot of movie cars this time around. We had the Fast and Furious cars, and now we got Smokey and the band of the 77 Firebird Trans Am. Amazing looking car, even if it wasn't that fast. This is significantly faster. The Firehawk, amazing name for a ugly car that is a lot better than people recognize it as. But this is still a GM show, and that means it's a Chevrolet show. There were a lot of Chevrolets, some of them modified, some of them stock. So we saw the Camaro with a turbocharger sticking out of the hood, essentially. There were the Nova that looked like it came from SEMA. There were some El Caminos and some Bel Airs and everything. It was just a lovely cacophony of classic Chevrolets. And yeah, the Camaro and the Corvette were the real stars. I'm not a big photo taker of those cars because they are quote-unquote normal at car shows, and I like to take more interesting cars, like take their pictures, I should say. But still, nice cars. I love the paint job on this red C2, I will say. And speaking of weird cars, the Chevy Monza with a massive twin-turbo setup, basically an Opel Manta imported over from Europe, and I always love seeing those unique vehicles once in a while, like the Maverick Grabber, only this is from Ford. We'll move on. Ford did not have much of an attendance either, but they did have a Torino GT in a brilliant yellow paint job, so, you know, you make up with, again, quality over quantity. We have the Nine DeLorean Bricklin SV1, yet another weird gull-wing failure. We have the Japanese-American thing that is the Chrysler Conquest, aka the Mitsubishi Sarian. Looks great in its 80s boxy design. Also an 80s box, but kind of awful. The Plymouth Fury, Grand Fury police car. We do have another appearance of the one of 7 Plymouth GTX convertible Belvedere 426 Heavies. One of 7 ever made in that configuration, so a very rare vehicle. Although, again, I kind of like the 71 GTX a little better. It's a lot more muscular, a lot more aggressive. Speaking of aggressive, the Dodge Viper, probably one of the most dangerous vehicles America's ever built, which is kind of saying something. But I love the final edition with the red and white paint job. I think it looks to die for. There was also an appearance of the Black Ghost Dodge Challenger before it goes up for sale at Macomb. So nice touch seeing it one last time before it goes on the auction block. And yeah, the Winged Beasts were here. Now I've been fortunate enough to see a lot of Superbirds over the years, but I've never seen a Daytona of the original Winged Beast. That is, until this show, because there was finally, after years of looking at nothing but Superbirds, there was an original 1969 Charger Daytona in its adjustable rear wing, massive nose cone glory. It looks phenomenal, and I'm so glad I finally got to see one. It's probably my favorite car in show, although that is a very close contention, this one, considering there was a Pontiac Grand Prix NASCAR. I told you that would come back later. Hope you didn't get the sarcasm there. Hope you understood that. But either way, there was the road car and the race car in attendance. Nicely done. Speaking of race cars, this is the Rush SR. It's kind of like a single-seater baby version of the Radicals. Yes, that was a Cayman, a Porsche Cayman alongside. It's a tiny, tiny car, but the Amphibicar was here. I love the Charger Daytona, and if you exclude the Amphibious car, which is actually registered for water use in Michigan, which is kind of cool, so you can actually use it on the water, it's not just a display thing. If this is in attendance, I almost don't care how good your Charger Daytona is. I don't think it's going to beat it. Truth be told, I don't really have a favorite car of the show because they're all just so good. I mean, the Fast and Furious cars, the Charger Daytona, the 992 GT3 RS, the Amphibicar, the Cayman GT4, they're all phenomenal. I'm telling you, this is one of my favorite shows I've ever been to, and I hope the momentum can continue on as we get into the summer months.